Good afternoon, and thank you for joining another episode of Once an Orphan. So, at this moment, we are going to pivot off of the adoption of a foster, off of the topic, I'm sorry, of foster care and adoption. Joining me is Mr. Christopher Life Willers, a young man who served 17 years in prison after being sentenced to 144 years. How, Sway? Mr. Christopher, thank you so much for joining me. Let's jump into it. You were sentenced at 19 years old to 144 years in prison. What does a 19-year-old do to get sentenced to 144 years in prison?
Well, for in my case, I was the driver in a robbery where nobody was physically harmed. I never left the vehicle, and the weapon was a BB gun. Um, yeah. So yeah, that's one thing a 19-year-old can do. Evidently, in today's, because it still happens today in the
Mm-hmm.
justice system, to end up in prison with a sentence of 144 years. Yeah.
144 years, no one was harmed. And out of that 144 years, you actually served 16 and 11 months, 17 years.
Yeah, so the actual sentence, I always say 144 years because I use it as a way to highlight and get people to understand that the prison sentence doesn't end when an individual walks out the prison gates. A lot of times there's probation, there's time over their head. Even me, somebody that's off probation, now has their passport, business owner, whatever, I still got 50 years good time behavior over my head. So that means, and I see, and when I explain this is, I love speaking to these points because a lot of we don't know.
No,
That
because what you
means
just said, I had no knowledge of.
that means theoretically, for anybody that may watch this, I can be the most upright citizen in the world for the next 12 years. If year 13 I get into an argument with somebody at Walmart, because this
Mm.
world is crazy. This world is different. And the cops get called, or I'm defending my wife. You understand me? And it gets looked at a certain way. Guess what? They could theoretically give me back every dime of that 15 years or that 50 years, every moment of it.
That is So I let me just make a point to say, first of all, while we are not speaking about adoption and foster care, he was an adoptee, correct?
We can. It's and it in my journey, I would say it's related. It's
Yeah.
it's it's definitely connected, but no, and I wanted to take the time, even if we don't go into that topic, to say thank you for discussing. I'm very passionate about it. I am adopted, and shout out to my mother who's had me since 6 weeks old. Shout out to Mama Helen. That's all I know. But it's been a journey too. Yeah,
Yeah, and I feel the same way about my mom. She picked me up
yeah.
from Kings County Hospital in Brooklyn when I was just 10 days
Come
old.
on.
So
Yeah,
I'm a Long Island native though.
yeah.
So okay, back to your time. Like you said, if you sneeze wrong, 13 years after being released from prison, you can go back. You can now that you are in Georgia, I want to make note of the fact that Governor Kemp has changed like the gun laws so that pretty much anyone can own a gun. Um,
Yeah. It's the Wild West.
right, absolutely. But does that apply to you having been incarcerated previously?
No, I mean, no. Does it get exploited by a lot of guys? And I'm not going to say necessarily for the wrong reasons. It's volatile down here in Georgia, and you got to defend yourself going to the gas station nowadays.
Yep.
Can I get my gun rights back? I can. There is a process, and typically it's dependent upon the state. But for instance, in Georgia, it's 5 years off papers, off probation, and then you would apply. But yeah, the process. I know guys that got murder charges that did 25 years that walk around with a firearm on their hip now. You know,
Legally?
legally, and not for nothing. These are probably the guys you want to have it on their hip because they are now fathers and coaches and mentors and business owners, and they don't do it for the wrong reasons. They do it
Right.
family, home protection. But yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I carry simply because I'm a mother. If I'm out
yeah,
with my kids and if I got to protect one of us, I mean, hey,
yeah.
you are very passionate about this topic of incarceration and what you've gone through. In 17 years, you had to have seen a lot.
Oh yeah.
What was it that upon your release that made you just say, I'm about to make this change? I'm telling everybody what I went through so that the young brothers don't make the same decision. What was that like for you that made you say, nope, I got work to do?
it was a process. It was a couple of things that were going on. The initial I guess blow of reality for me was when I was in the bullpen waiting to go in front of the judge before I had got my time, and my public defender, who wasn't defending me, now I know this as a 40-year-old man, came in there after rushing my court date on me, not telling me I was going to be in there that morning, and simply said, man, the best I can do is give you 35 to 54 years to do as a first time offender. uh Mind you, I was also previous military active duty,
Right.
not during 9/11, United States Air Force.
Thank you for your
You
services.
you're welcome. Somebody has got I had a 4.0 GPA in college. I was just somebody that made a bad decision. I had a moment, you know what I'm saying, an angry teenager, whatever it was. But in that, I mustered up enough courage, and unfortunately not enough young people do, to say I can't do that. And if I didn't say at that time, because most kids say, okay, and they just deal with that whatever they feel in that moment, and they mama crying in that courtroom. In that moment, I said, no. I said I can't do that, and I understood I had to stand up in that moment. Now, were there times where I fell down and had to get back up? But that was the first step. The second step, because I fought to get a second chance in that courtroom, where literally I told the judge I just want to be home before I'm 40, and a lot of people wouldn't even understand that part of the story. But I
Mm.
was facing multiple life sentences behind a BB gun. You know what I'm saying? I,
Yeah.
I gotta keep saying that. Uh,
Behind a BB gun.
Behind a BB gun. Then when I was in prison, I lost a buddy of mine. He was supposed to go home on a Monday. I watched him lose his life on a Saturday. uh, that was the second wake up call, because after the first one I got numb for a little bit. I started doing my time, and I had 17 years at least. I wasn't looking at the end. But when I watched my brother lose his life on the yard over a 5-inch TV, you understand what I'm saying, a 5-inch Magnavox TV, um I realized that up until the day I go home, there's no guarantee that I will be a free man. So I have to fight. You know what I'm saying? My mother would tell me, you know what I'm saying? My grandma, I had some strong women, they would pour into me and pray, and they would say, whatever you do not put your head down. You know what I'm saying? So I had people that would speak to me when I couldn't even talk to myself in certain moments. I couldn't, understand?
Yep.
But it was certain mile markers along the journey that it woke me up. The next one, as time went by, was you're talking to somebody that's also a former gang member and not one for play. If you look at my interviews, and I say it in the most humble way, nobody's questioning the stories that I tell. Nobody's saying that they're a lie. And I got some of the brothers we was beefing with full on in prisons from different gangs, all that back in the day. We're grown, we're friends now. We talk about oil changes and cutting grass. You understand?
Not
I'm
all you changes.
I'm trying to tell you. But there was a moment in time where I was getting locked up for things that would happen on one compound because of the influence I had in the
Mm.
system. And I had some old heads in there, some OGs, some old timers that were never going home, that pulled up on me one day and they said, brother, if you don't even know what you possess, and
Mm.
you do have a chance to go home. So I had brothers like Jefferson Ellie, who we still fighting for his freedom, brother, with different people like that in that environment, they said, oh nah, you're not gonna be in here doing what everybody else do. So I had guys that rallied behind me and seen things in me that I didn't even see in myself, and the journey just continued to progress.
And shout out and thank you to them, whoever these gentlemen are, for
Yeah.
just being in your corner. Because had you served 144 years, you would have likely died in prison.
No question, unless I got a
I mean,
super
without a
suit.
doubt, remove likely, you would have died in prison.
No,
So,
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. No, you can die in prison in one day. It
right,
only takes it takes a second to lose your life in prison. So whether you're doing 5 years, 10 years, and I want to say this, anybody that's watching this is not. You will never hear me asking for any pity. I hold myself 100% accountable. Nobody told me to get in the truck that night.
right.
I speak to the conditions, the reality of what prison is, the justice system. just that in totality. And that's why I speak, because man, when we were just speaking about me as a 19-year-old kid, if I knew what I knew now, I
Right.
probably wouldn't have did 2-3 years.
Right. What do you think would have been a reasonable punishment for a 19-year-old? I mean, probation. No one was harmed, right?
Nobody was physically, I'm a mental health guy. I understand mental trauma, emotional trauma, so I do want to say harm was done. But when we're thinking about in terms of, again, ex-military, never been in trouble, never got out the car, BB gun. There's so many different things you can do with a 19-year-old life. But as we know, prison is systemic. There's people
Yeah.
that anytime there's people that invest or have stake in, then obvious there's a reason that they need a supply to fulfill.
You know it.
Yeah. So we know now the grand scope of things. We become more, aware of things. But what leads people to prison is mental health. What leads people to prison is non-support. What leads people to prison is illiteracy. What leads people to prison is the lack of resources. Like it goes on and on. And it's no surprise, man. That's why I get up here and run my mouth.
No, and that's why I actually stumbled across your TikTok. Like accidentally. I saw that you were on live, and I don't know why, but I said, let me just see what he's talking about. And I'm like, I think what stood out to me was 144 years, 100, 144, 144. And as I listened to you candidly speak about your 17-year experience, I was like, from 19, the fact that you lost all of your 20s, like you said, and most of your 30s.
Yeah.
So you got released what, 4 years ago during on or sometime
I
around COVID?
To put it in perspective, yeah, about 4.5 years ago, not even 4.5 years yet. I got locked up on February 12th, 2003. I might be a little bit older than you. They
No, you're
back then,
not. I
oh,
got you by 6 years.
oh, I ain't know. Hey, but they back then they had Nextel Chirps and Black Planet. You understand me? My girlfriend back in the day, she used to text and the phone bill be $5,000. You had to pay a fee to text. You understand what I'm
I
talking about?
remember.
Right. So then imagine you just boop, it stopped. You ain't got no more access to technology. And then you come home 17 years later and it's Facebook, it's Instagram, TikTok, smartphones, it's overload. So that's the technology shift. And then you put in this factor. I came home January 13th, 2020. After 17 years of incarceration, I love my wife. We're getting ready to celebrate 5 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, 5 years. But I came home after 17 years with a wife and a mortgage. I can't, right? Wife mortgage, which is a beautiful thing. Look, guys
Right.
was envious. Hey, man, you got your wife, man. You lucky, you blessed. You got a boss. All this.
Mhm.
Listen, there's a stress that comes with that. When you put that weight on you, you come home with a wife. Oh, there's expectation. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
now, and then I'm gonna be quiet. So you keep
No, you're good.
now. Now we got the end of the world. And now we got the pandemic, so I'm coming home and I'm thinking relief. I'm thinking when I come home,
Yeah.
it's gonna be okay. I'm thinking I'm gonna feel lighter. I come straight home, and it's the end of the world. I'm watching the count go down or go up. They talking about the dark winter. Society doesn't even know what's going on, and I'm supposed to find a foundation and stability after 17 years of prison in a society that has never been this unstable in life. And my probation officer telling me I need a job as they shutting everything down. Make it make sense.
Make it make sense because you come home after 17 years. You had to be or feel institutionalized. I would like to
No
think.
question. No
And
question.
then you're feeling like that during the time where you can't find work because, first of all, nothing is open. Everyone is being laid off. Everyone is working from home. So, how do you find a job? I'm institutionalized. I come home and you're telling me to do this. I can't. There's seriously no way you could have done that. So, what do you do?
I am crazy. I am crazy. I refuse to let. I'm not gonna let this thing called life beat me down. My nickname life, that got given to me by the brothers. So I don't care how dark the situation, how beat up I am, I done messed up. I'm gonna fight, and I'm gonna fight like you ain't never seen nobody fight before, and I take pride in that. Can't
Yeah.
nobody get in the room with me and outwork with me, outvision me. But I say that out of respect. But it's just the mentality I come in. I got mentors. I got people that don't get it, don't take it. But I'm just saying that's the approach. So when I come home, I came out like a bull out the bullpen. I had been waiting. I had been bucking and waiting. I had my notebook, and a lot of the stuff you see me speaking on, doing with the nonprofit, these are all thoughts and things that people been telling me I was crazy for in years. You know, for years in there. Then I was given the opportunity. I started mentoring back there. A lot of stuff you see me doing now is just what I was doing in there. But as far as employment, oh, I didn't care. I was making 27 cents an hour. So if I had to make $5 an hour at first, I was good with that. So I got on the back of the garbage truck. I was in the warehouses. I did what I had to do, you know?
So now when you see the young Christopher Life Willers at 19 years old, who you can probably look at and tell you're getting ready to do something stupid,
No question.
what do you tell him? Hey, look, young brother, what is that conversation?
Man, first I would have got him some mental health support. Because the 19-year-old me was, I mean, shoot, I still battle it at times. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of the people on record. I feel like I got to go to therapy every year, like an oil change or whatever. But back then, it was just, I was depressed, angry. Um, there was some things going on in my head, and I didn't have an outlet, anybody to speak to. So it's not necessarily that's crazy. I just would sit with them and just listen. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have nobody to talk to. And I get emotion. I fight for kids
Yeah.
nowadays, excuse me. But a lot of these kids I talk to, they and I don't speak about this part, but I'll speak about it. I do a lot of suicide prevention behind the scenes. I don't even speak about it. But it's not even what I would say a lot of times or what I'm asked to say to these kids. They just want somebody to be present there with them. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Just be present, man. Just listen. I don't care how crazy it sounds. It don't got to make sense to you. You don't have to try to provide an answer. Just be there.
Yeah.
You know, provide safety. So that's what I would do. Because if somebody had been there for me in that way, it's not a knock towards my mother, anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Life was life. Your mama trying to keep the lights on, you know what I'm saying? But I just didn't have that support. And that's what led me to go somewhere where it was a type of support that wasn't needed. And you got me up here crying. I see that's what it's
No,
all
I'm.
it's
It's
emotional.
okay. It's
Yeah.
totally fine. You know the funny thing about what you just mentioned. I was in conversation with someone this past week, and we were just talking about the importance of being there. You know, I had death in the family, and just being there. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything. Your
Mm.
presence is enough to overshadow any conversation that can even be had. So, like you said, your presence, and I don't think people realize just how important that is because your presence makes that connection. So before you can get into, hey, young man, don't do this. If you
Yeah.
sit there with one of these, you know, he know like, okay, the OG watching me. Let me not be this. Let me not make this decision. Oh, I got the OG here. I don't want to do that right now. Do you
Yeah.
find that that's a lot of times the case?
Man, I am blessed. I don't have an obstacle when it comes to the youth. I don't act like one of these young kids when they around me. I am OG, Unc, Big Bro, whatever it is. They see me as, but I don't I know the importance in connecting with them, and I don't expect them to meet me where I'm at in that moment. I'm in
Right.
a different place as I should be. I got to go back. I got to reach down for them. So in the act of reaching down, if I look at it and from, a physical act, it's just when I reach to them, it's understanding some of their music, some of their culture, technology. Right now, for my nonprofit, we're creating a Discord. I don't know nothing about Discord, but the youngins keep saying, "Oh, if you get a Discord, we gonna lock in and we gonna lock into the Okay, so we gonna get on YouTube. And matter of fact, I got a 19-year-old kid. He is brilliant. Excuse me, young man, and he's doing the tech stuff. You know.
Right.
So yeah, man. I don't
So
know.
you look back at the 19-year-old Christopher to the
Mm,
40-year-old Christopher, and in nearly 20 years, you get emotional, or
yeah,
more than 20 years, you get emotional. What is that thing that makes you so emotional that you're like, I can't believe this?
man. Man, my life is a blessed one. You know, I don't never want to get up here and be perceived as somebody that brags or none of, but I was away for 17 years. Um what people don't see is a lot of what I take pride in. Me and my wife, we are school owners, and I'm the executive director. I'm the principal, and you know, we got 100% graduation rate. We probably got the lowest tuition in the state of Georgia, and my students are now stylists for the Atlanta Hawks. They open in salons. We teach entrepreneurship.
Hold
It's
up, because
yeah. Oh
you
no,
know.
we like that. We hey them students, man. But um, I don't know. I just my life is that I get to travel now and lend my voice to help. And there's so many people globally that believe in this thing. And I always tell people the power, the cheat code to this. I promise you. And if you ain't never heard this, anybody hears this, you become not invincible. We're more things happen, but you become. Oh, you can't be when you figure out how to take your pain and give it purpose every time. It you no longer become fearful of the process. Pain is gonna come. You
I'm
understand?
laughing. I'm laughing at that because what you just said was so powerful. It was for me being an adoptee, never talked about my adoption,
Right.
never dealt with my adoption. Now using this platform to talk about it, not only do I feel like I get to take my power back, but then I also get to connect with so many adoptees, so many wonderful people like yourself who are doing things in the community, not just for the young Christopher who grew up, adopted and, who made the wrong decision in life, but so many things because we don't realize just how impactful that is and how much needed it is. So your work, when they say your work speaks for you, everything that you're doing, when I look at you on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, it is so it's so major that you have so many platforms because it's necessary to bring attention to what it is you're doing, not who you are, but what it is you're doing, because
Right.
that's the biggest part of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, everything I do it's literally to educate, inform, and I try to highlight other people, their stories, organizations.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you without getting too much into. I got a call from somebody that I grew up listening to. You know what I'm saying? That I would never have expected in a million years to be watching my stuff. And he made sure I can get on a very big platform, you know what I'm saying, coming up. And not only that, I've been on the phone with him for the last 2 days, this individual. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And it's not that I just said it to him. It's not that you're in the industry or whatever, you're in a certain place. It's just that it's it's him. It's the soccer mom from Australia. It's the lady that's fighting
Everyone.
cancer right now that doesn't even know about prison, but they're motivated and inspired by the story. It's the mom that whose son is, and it's so many different people and different now it's I don't know. I just got to keep going. Because
You
I'm
have to.
constantly reminded you don't know who's watching, how it's going to impact, who it's going to impact, and never mind because it's not about the person, it's about the purpose. So never mind
Exactly.
me. My team will tell you when I'm at these events and asked to speak, I get out the way and try to push them to the front. I'm more, I guess, inspired by what comes from this,
Hmm.
the changes that occur in the people that are reaching out and saying, "I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna push back. I'm not gonna join this gang. I'm gonna go to school. I wish there was a way, and not for just in a humble way. I just want to see the work of God. I'm gonna say it. I don't know what we could talk about it. The
Seriously,
work,
no, it's the work of God. Like,
yeah. I
you
want to
can
see
say that.
what the Holy Spirit is doing, and I'll never know. You know what I'm saying? The brother told me, he said, "I'll never know," but I don't know. To do 17 years, come home and take that pain and give it purpose like this is humbling, and
Exactly.
I'm grateful.
To get your hands dirty, to change the youth, to have that positive impact, to do the work that you're doing, because I want everyone to know. I'm going to share all of your social media handles.
Appreciate that.
But I want everyone to know, y'all, he's squeezed in time. This brother is busy. He's like, he's like, Jasmine, I got 2 seconds. Let's go. But I appreciate it because you took the time to, out of what you're doing. I don't know who you've been speaking to for the past couple of days, but tell them I say hi. But but
Man,
no, seriously,
yeah,
the work is impactful. It is much needed, and it is so necessary that we all try to encourage you to continue to do what you're doing, because
appreciate it.
somebody's child is in the process of making the wrong decision right now because he does not know anyone like Christopher Life Willers. So I am so thankful for your time. I know you got to go. I'm not trying to keep you. One last thing you want to say before I let you go?
Yeah, can I shout out my event and all that good
Of
stuff?
course, absolutely.
Man, if you guys are in Georgia, Atlanta area, we have an event. It's the last Tuesday every month. This one is May 28th. It's from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's called The Wake Up. And basically, we're going to be discussing everything you just heard here on this wonderful platform. We're going to be talking about how to get off probation too. We're going to be talking about mental health. We're going to be talking about the impact of a loved one incarcerated, transitioning back into society. We're going to have food. We're going to be networking. There's going to be different organizations in there. All in all, it's going to be a healing environment, a safe space, a safe zone. The goal of mine is to grow it from 1 day to 3 days a month at the school. And it's going to be at 2260 North Lake Parkway, Suite 100, Tucker, Georgia, 30084. Lasting Layers of Beauty Institute. That's the school. That's where it's at. And we'd love to have you, man. If you want to call us, 770-696-9082. That's the school's number.
And this
And
is, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was just gonna say, and get involved. And even if you're not in Georgia, you can check us out at thelifeunit.org, um, and support from afar. And note, I'm not saying that to get money. It could just be your words of encouragement. There's different ways you can volunteer, teach the youth, do a seminar. We can upload it, whatever. There's so many ways you can help change the world, inspire people, motivate, and all that too. So yeah.
And this is not just for anyone who had any relation to being incarcerated or anything
No.
like that. This is for the general public. This is for everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for clarity. Yeah, it's
Yes.
young, old, whether you're incarcerated or not. Of course, a lot of the topics are geared towards people that have been impacted, but it's not, because we all go through things with mental health. We all go through things dealing with trauma. We all go through things where we need to know some financial literacy and entrepreneurial things. So it's all that. And then at one of the event every now and then we give scholarships away. We do a lot of different stuff there as well. So check us out. And like I said, we're trying to grow a nucleus here that's going to spread across the country and hopefully across the globe. I dream big, and my God said
As
dream
you
bigger.
should.
Yeah.
Listen, Christopher, you squeezed me in. I'm thankful.
I got you. I got you. Hey, I apologize for I hopped on a little late. It's hectic, but thank you for
No,
having me and being patient with me as well.
of course, you're busy. So I'm thankful to you. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. And you